Okay, first of all, what the heck did you just say? So your idea is you want to play freaking Blockbuster on Lily Pad. Can you explain to me why that's even a combo? When would it even be remotely good? Because you conjure a car. No, that's not a good combo. You never want to be playing Blockbuster in the water. It can at most hit one gravestone if you play in the water, and the whole point of running this over Gravebuster is the fact it hits multiple things. This is oh my gosh, cremation station instantly. What's going on, everybody? This is Fry. So now I'm doing part 2 of rating the game's strategy decks. We're just going to be doing them in order. Now, I realize that I'm actually not doing them in order. Apparently, the correct order is when you go to the collection, and if you actually click on this, you see that it is Green Shadow, and then Solar Flare, and then Wall Knight. So what I'm doing instead, and maybe I'll correct this for future tier lists, I've done all the tier lists this way, is instead going based on the order in the deck selection screen. So I did all of the top ones in part 1. That was Green Shadow through Rose, and now I'm going to be doing Solar Flare through Captain Combustible, and lastly do Beta Caratina. Now, the point of this sort of video is not only to critique whoever made some of these deck lists. Some of them are really good, some of them are just what the heck is going on. This should hopefully also give you guys at home an idea of how to build deck lists, what are some of the mistakes that people make when they make decks, and they'll improve your ability to make your own creative decks by yourself. So without further ado, we're getting right into it. We'll start with Solar Flare, and we are starting with Spores Galore. Use Mushroom Grotto and Shroom for 2 to fill the board with fungi. He's a fungi. Oh my gosh. Then cinch the win? You mean clinch? Clinch the win with Pine Clone. Cinch? I don't even know. And Molecule. Anyway, isn't a cinch? What does that even mean? Anyway, so alright, so what is this deck? We got 2 Puff Shrooms. Ooh, there should be more Puff Shrooms because of Pine Clone, running Mushrooms, running Cosmic. It's just some dumb stuff in these decks. That's the problem. I sort of like this. I'm not gonna argue against Buff Shroom, even though I will give this advice to you. If you're making a Pine Clone deck, just don't run Buff Shroom. It's not worth it. You usually want to save your Shroom for 2s for turn 3 and 4 and 5 to be combining with Pine Clone, not playing them early and then playing Buff Shroom, and hopefully they don't have one of the millions of things that make your Shroom for 2s kind of useless. But anyway, running a little bit of Ramp, running some Gloom Shrooms. This deck isn't half bad. Rushing Mushroom Grotto, which works both with Pine Clone and with Punish Room. And not bad with the Gloom Shroom. This deck is not bad. It just has a few dumb cards in it, like these Fume Shrooms should not be here. Astro Shroom's not really good. And I say overall Buff Shroom's not very good. This deck is decent though. There should also be 4 Molecules. For sure there should be 4 Molecules. La 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 la. This deck is really not bad though. There should also be 4 Puff Shrooms. There's really not enough things going for this deck to consider this top tier, but I'll give this one a solid B because this is pretty good. Next, we're going to the 2-star Solar Flare. Solar Winds. This is called Bloom and Boom. Solar Winds and Metal Petal Sunflower help this flower deck play high-cost plants early, so it's a ramp deck. They're ramping to what though? Okay, yeah, not bad. Roaring to victory with a quick Dandelion King. So it looks like it's here's the problem with this deck is this a control deck or is this an aggro deck? Like, you're running Blooming Heart, which is not a very good control card. Now this is a very good aggro card. If you're trying to put on a lot of heat early with cards like Blooming Heart, or you're running 4 copies of Cosmic Flower, which is going to end up pinging your opponent's block meter a lot, that's going to mess up the Dandelion King. Not only does this card get a lot less value because you've already damaged your opponent, but this also could just get blocked by that time. The block meter is the biggest weakness to Dandelion King. So in a deck like this, I would be ditching a lot of these cards. You can use even the like the reincarnation sort of as early game control slash a late game option once it starts transforming. So that's not bad. The hammers are good. The berry blasts are good. The Briar Rose is good. Just add in some more control options. Little Buddy would be good for this deck. Not a huge fan of Metal Petal Sunflower, but I guess you play this on 4 and then on turn 5 you can play Dandelion King if this survives. It's probably not worth it. Solar Winds are okay. It's a good environment. So he's running Squash, Cherry Bomb, running Power Flower. You're going to have a way to win with this deck too, even after you play the Dandy. That only cuts your opponent's health in half, and I don't think Power Flower is really going to get it done. This is really too slow. Having some stronger strike through cards like Astrocado would be a great idea. Oh, this deck does have Briar Rose in it. I just think that the deck is sort of... I think this deck could win games, but sort of flawed in the way that it's created and just has like a very mixed win conditions that don't synergize well with each other. So that's why I'm going to be putting this in C tier, even though it's not a horrible deck. I guess the Blooming Heart is okay with Briar Rose, just not the best option, that's all. Like even Morning Glory in this type of deck would probably be better than Blooming Heart, because at least in the late game it becomes a 3/3 and you have that option with the ramp. Anyway, all right, Cornucopocalypse now. There, I said it. With endless removal cards, destroy every zombie they play. So it's a control deck. Finish them off with heavy hitting Toadstool, Kernel Corn, and Cornucopia. Toadstool's not a very heavy hitting card. Fortunately, only running 2 in this deck. Cornucopia is also not the greatest finisher. Probably Kernel Corn and 3-headed Chomper. If you want a heavy-hitting card, why do they not say 3-headed Chomper? These finishers seem to be okay. I'm not against running Toadstool 2, which is really a control card, which really will ramp you up to your Kernel Corns a little bit earlier. Let's see what we're running in terms of removal, though. So you got 1 Banana Bomb. Ugh. You're relying very heavily on Solar Flares early game. But on the other hand, you have the 4 Reincarnations. So this is actually not bad. Got Berry Blast. I'd run a 4th Berry Blast. I would just completely get rid of Sage. Sage, not a good card. Banana Bomb, Banana Launcher, like, I can't argue with it. I guess it's okay. It's running some heals, some removal. Completely get rid of Chomper, it sucks. I don't even know about Lawnmower. I guess 1's okay. I guess this is Field Clear, like in case they're running a lot of things with 1 health. Probably not worth it, though. There's a lot better options. Then there's just some dumb stuff like Lava Guava. Maybe in a late game control deck like this, Lava Guava's okay. The problem is this is the only environment in the deck, so if you're going to need to answer environments, this is not going to be a really good way of doing it. Fireweed would be 1,000 times better than Lava Guava, which also, again, creates that lava to cover their environments. Got some Squash, some Q. Okay, finishers. Not a ton of late game. Really, you kind of just, in terms of finishers, have like sort of mid-range and 4 late game finishers. Really, for a control deck, I would actually add a little more late game here. I don't think Toadstool really can count as a full-fledged late game card in that regard. There's a lot of dumb stuff in this deck, but it could win some games. I don't know how reliable this is going to be in terms of control. It's a control deck, but it's not built well, so I'll give this a C. A C means it's solid. Again, this can win some things. It's just meh. Solid, but meh. All right. Paradise 1. Environments galore. Oh no. There's going to be way too many environments in this deck. I'm not even looking at it yet. Cosmos and Solar Winds keep you going until you surprise your opponent by playing an Astrovera or Dandelion King in Paradise. So you got 8 environments in this deck. You're running this for some early game tempo. Running some ramp, running some basic control cards, a little bit of healing. Decent control. This is probably the best card in the deck is the Astrocado. You're running 1 of these. Ugh. So you got Dandelion King. See, the Dandelion... I guess you could go Dandelion King into Astrocado. It's not bad that at least you have some powerful cards. I don't really know where this Astrovera is leading. Like, usually if you're running Astrovera, you either want it to be a heal deck, you're combining it with Artichoke. Or... I don't know. Or you're actually like leading up to Walnut Bowling or something, or Cornucopia, even something bigger. Like healing infinitely, I guess placing this in Paradise is good. It's just not a very good environment in general. You can get the double Dandelion King sometimes. It's just a troll deck. Maybe we'll give this extra points for being a troll deck. This deck isn't bad. How do you win? See, win with this combo. I would run a 4th Astrocado for sure instead of one of these guys. There's just some dumb stuff. This deck isn't bad. There's too many environments too. I'm just gonna put this in C. I think I put most of the strategy decks. It's fine. It just has too many environments and a lot of other dumb stuff in it. All right, next, Evolutionary Dawn. Extra Sun from Primal Sunflower, Solar Winds, and Sunflower Seed get you off to a fast start. When zombies try to pick on your sunflowers, just evolve them into a powerful Cro-Magnolia and Elderberry. So it's a ramp into evolution deck, and you're running Cro-Mag Elderberry. I guess this is an okay springboard. Like, usually Shelfstream's not a good card because it's just a really slow banana bomb, but if you need a minion for one of your Elderberries or Cro-Mag, I guess you can't argue with that. Decent finishers. I don't know why Solar Winds in this deck. This deck was probably created back when Solar Winds cost 2. It really doesn't make sense in terms of 3. Like, 2 cost Solar Winds into Elderberry is a really good combo, or even into Cro-Mag 3. I don't really know where that goes. I guess it's okay. Since we're running Colonel Corn and Astrocado, I guess we could go 3-4. 1 random Cornucopia. Guess this works. Running some decent removal. I have no idea why High Voltage Currents is in this deck at all. It's just dumb. More Puff Shrooms would be good. So it's a ramp. Hit him with the Cro-Mag. Aggro, kind of. I love how every deck has Astrocado in it. It just makes it so much better. C. I can't say I really get it. I think that's higher C than some of these other C's, but still going in C. All right. Next, we got 30 decks to do today total. Let's go. War and Peace, get it? Use Sunflower to put Podfather on the mean streets as soon as possible. We've tried this deck before where you go Sunflower on 1, Podfather on 2. The problem with that is that first of all, Sunflower dies to like a million things on turn 1. And it's a horrible trade against Summoning, against Immortitious Bats. Even Backup Dancers, Bungee Plumber, Nibble. There's just no card that this actually survives against if they have an answer. It's one reason why I really like running Primal Sunflower instead of regular Sunflower, is because Primal Sunflower at least trades against that summoning. You're not losing tempo. Also, you would need a Podfather plus like 1 or 2 Ps in your starting hand, and the Podfather on 2, even on turn 2, a 2/2 is horrible. Like, this gets removed by everything unless you stick it behind the Sunflower. I guess that plays around Beam Me Up, but does not play around Extinction Event, Bungee Plumber, Rolling Stone. The list goes on. Then unleashes Gang of Peas so they can teach a zombie a lesson they won't forget. So we're also not running that many cheap Ps. You got 4 1s. Like, where's the click Ps in this deck? And you got 6 2s, and then you got Cosmic P, and then you got Wingnut, which is also a P. Like, I would run a lot more early game. You're also running Onion Rings in this deck. The Onion Rings is probably way better than the Podfather, to be perfectly honest. You're only running 2, though. This is the environment. Oh, this deck has so many bad things. It was probably also made before Lily got nerfed. Lily, So not enough Ps, relying on a horrible strategy, which you're only running 3 Sunflowers anyway. Can this deck win games? Like, you're running 4 Podfathers and 2 Gatlings. Should definitely be the other way around. 4 Gatlings would be the way. Running a Podfighter instead, just a random. Let's just shove like 1 removal card and throw a Lawnmower in there. That'll be reliable. I guess you can pull things into the ground and then lawnmow them. What a synergy. This deck is... I'm putting this one in D. I really don't think this deck has enough going for it. And it's like so close yet so far. Really not enough ways to actually win. And there's no plant food either. Ugh. Next, I'm critiquing every single Mega Grow deck that does not have at least 2 copies of plant food, preferably 3 or 4. Is definitely losing points. But anyway, let's see what we got. So, 1 good attack deserves another. Use Coffee Grounds to give double strike to Cosmos. This combo actually works. It's been a long time since we've done this, but it's actually not a bad idea. And this really, since this is going to be a 1 cost 3/3 in the Coffee Grounds, if they don't cover the Coffee Grounds, this will survive. It's very difficult to do 3 damage to this. And if they stick a minion in front of it, it's usually not going to be a 3/2 anyway. Alright. Captain Cucumber, this also works here, and Moonbeam. It's really not a bad combo. I sort of like what they're doing. Again, I'm going to not take off too many points because the Lily of the Valley, because this was made when it was a 1-3, even though right now I would take this away. So you're running 8 environments. Ugh. This is too many. You got to get rid of these 4 environments and just put some more power in. An extra plant food would be useful. Anyway. Finish things off by playing the red planet with your Bananasaurus Rex. Horrible combo. It just dies way too easily. I like the Podfather, though. What would I add to this deck, actually? This is, besides for these 4 environments, this deck looks solid. I don't even mind the party time, because it's a 1-cost 2/2 that will very likely get a lot of value in this deck, because there's actually a lot of ways of doing bonus attacks. Even this 1-2 sometimes works. Not very often. This deck is so close. I don't know if I'm gonna actually, this isn't the greatest strategy in the world, but it is very viable, and what they've done with it, they've sort of built this deck perfectly, in my opinion. I would probably add some, so these 4 environments, I would actually just add a Little Buddy. It would be a way to activate the Pod Fighter, and also protect some of your guys while they're doing the bonus attacks. It also is a very good combo with the Vegetation Mutation, because 0 costs 2/3. Thanks so much, Z Rusty, for subscribing. Welcome to the family, Z Rusty. That's what I'm talking about. So this deck is really, I'm actually going to be putting this one in A tier, because this could win a lot against. It's actually a really, really well-built deck. I can't put it in S, though, because the Solar Winds and the Red Planet is just numbskull. It's too big of a mistake. All right. Next. Blast through even the toughest defenses with an endless army of strike-through plants. That's a good strategy. We'll see how they did it. Buff them with Lily of the Valley and Grow Shroom, then finish things off with the Red Planet. Red Planet as a finisher. Anyway, so you're running a little bit of aggro. For an aggro deck, this would have to have Haunted Pumpkin. Get rid of these Sweet Potatoes. Not worth it. Probably get rid of these Cosmics. Really get rid of Lily and add in 2 more Sweet Potatoes too. I don't mind the Lily again into these cards. It's not horrible. In a strike-through deck, I guess Cosmic Sunflower's okay. B-Rex got 4 of these, got 3 plant foods. I don't mind the Laser Beam. Again, really not a big fan of Red Planet, but every once in a while, in this deck, this will actually be good. Every once in a while, it'll be amazing, especially since you're running a lot of strike-through. Even with the Cosmic Sunflower, like if you play Red Planet, if they don't have an answer to that, you're going to be fine. Whew. This deck is really not bad, actually. This is built very well. The only thing it's really missing is Haunted Pumpkin instead of like and these. What environment would I run in this deck? I don't know. I can't argue that much against the Red Planet. Maybe I would only run 2. This deck looks pretty damn solid, though. Again, get rid of the Lilies and Haunted Pumpkin. I'll put this one in A. I don't think this is, again, the greatest deck in the world, but for what it's trying to do, it's a decent aggro. Ugh. I don't know if I could put this in A, actually, with only 4 aggro 1-drops in an aggro deck. Is there enough 2s? Alright, I'll put it in B. It's not A. It's not A, but it is well built. Thank you so much, Turney. Turney, welcome to the family. Free Amazon Prime stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Guys, head over to the Discord. Get Discord privileges. Exclamation point Discord and Twitch chat. Figure out how to do that with your free subs. All right, we got Cukes of Hazard. Oh my gosh. They probably made this deck just so they could name it that. Fill your hand with cards from Captain Cucumber so you can keep the opponent on lockdown. It's actually not a bad strategy. If things get out of hand, clear the board with Tactical Cuke. So you're running 3 Cukes, 4 Captain Cucumbers. I don't know why Banana Bomb is in this deck. I have no idea why. You need a little more early game control. You really just don't have enough happening in the early game. Banana Bomb does not, Banana Peel, I mean, does not count as an early game card. You really have almost nothing going on 3 unless you have the Captain Cucumber. All the rest of these cards are non-tempo. I guess you have 6 3s, which is not enough, especially after this very poor late game. Then you're running just Banana Split out of nowhere. You have no actual finishers, so you're relying 100% on your Captain Cucumber and maybe on your 3-headed Chomper for this. Cukes of they literally just made this deck. They literally made this deck just so they can name it Cukes of Hazard. Look, Dukes of Hazard pun. We're good at dad jokes. This is not a good combo. Captain Cucumber into Tactical Cuke. No, this is not how you build a deck. This deck is not good. Everything else in this deck is just like, pfft. Are you kidding me? There's no early game, and there's no late game. What is this garbage? This is horrific. Why is this card here? Oh look, it's synergized. Oh my gosh. No, this deck is going in F. This is horrible. This is horrible. What is this even doing? Anyway. Goddamn. F tier. Where are we up to now? That was Cukes of Hazard. Oh my gosh. Hyper Aggro Hyperdrive. We'll see how hyper. Ooh, it got Haunted Pumpkin. 30 plants that cost 1 and 2 unleash a hyper aggressive offense. Play evolutions on fusion for a powerful combo. Then punch past the final zombies with Sunstrike. Ooh. Alright. The main problem I'm seeing in this deck, there's not a lot of cheap Ps for your Gatling. Like, you're running Torchwood as well. I like this idea. It's very nice. I would get rid of these. Add in some good Ps. What would be the good Ps in this deck? Black IP, I guess. And the Click P. Is there another good 1-cost P? Besides for Peapod, which is not very good. I feel like I'm forgetting something. So running Sunstrike, running Lily, which is a Haunted Pumpkin. I was excited when I saw Haunted Pumpkin. The Gatling's okay. It doesn't have bonus. Plant Food would be better than Sunstrike. You have like your cheap removal. I sort of like it. Primal P is not in this class though. This isn't bad too, because you can really like play Primal Sunflower 1. If it survives, you get like a double play the next turn, which is kind of cool. This deck is really not bad. I don't really see why the Lily of the Valley is here. It kind of only synergizes with Torchwood, but then you need Torchwood plus another P, which is not likely. I guess running 2 of these just to fusion into the... I guess this can also fusion into the Elderberry as well. It's not a bad idea. Maybe I should try this combo of P-Patch into Elderberry and Gatling. This deck's not bad. It's not bad. What's the dumb thing in this deck? Not quite enough Ps, but... And the Torches are back. Can't really argue with anything, again, except for Lily, but I can't really take points off for Lily. Because this was probably when Lily was good. Is this a good deck, though? I want to actually at least put this in A, because the deck is actually built quite well for what it's trying to do. Is this good enough to be... I don't know if did I put anything in S tier before? I might have put one deck in S tier in the first deck list. I don't even remember. This is like a week and a half later. Is this S tier? Is there anything mind-blowing here? Not really. I'll put this in A. Solid A. Alright. Wow. I was impressed the Hyper Aggro Hyperdrive was going to be good. I guess it's not... It's kind of like hard to mess up in an aggro deck. I'm really happy that they actually added Haunted Pumpkin. I'm really impressed with that. Right. So it's Chumsil. I don't know why Rose comes next. It's really weird. But anyway, we're up to Citron. Oh, this is going to be great. Okay. Here's the first deck. It's called Water Sports. Swim towards swift victory with this Soaking Wet strategy deck. Whoa. Use Navy Bean to buff amphibious plants, including the Great Zucchini. Whoa. Who will make your opponent's chances disappear. More like pantses. Okay. What are we actually doing here? It's an amphibious Citron deck. So you're running 4 Navy Beans. You're running 4 Bogs. This is okay. It's a decent one. Can't really argue. There's no Lima Pleurodon in this deck, though. Okay, so this should be Lima Pleurodon, first of all. I don't know about you. Parapel. This is a good card. What would be the other amphibious minion? Is Rotobega, the completely neglected Rotobega for this piece of garbage. Okay, so then you got Marine Bean. Alright. Running a couple snacks. I do like snake. I would run 4 snakes in this. I don't know. This is just Jolly Holly. in a non-freeze deck. It's just too weak. It doesn't do enough if you're not synergizing this with Winter Squash. This is a dumb thing. I don't mind the gourd, and I love the bananas. This one zucchini is a little rare. I don't think this deck is going to go to turn 9. So get rid of the zucchini and the Jolly Hollies. You know, you put in limas instead of this, put in Rhodobig instead of this, and then add in just more bananas and maybe one more, like 2 more bananas, 1 more snake, or 2 snakes and 1 banana. At that point, this deck would be great. I mean, it's still not even going to be great because it's still an Amphibious Citron deck, which isn't very good. Is there enough dumb stuff for this to go in C? I'm going to give this B kind of benefit of the doubt because I think the general gist is good. And again, you know, they're not like throwing every legendary. Like this, we'll call this a budget version of the deck I would be running. They're putting a little more cheaper cards. So, all right. I'll do that just for like the... Without, you know, without the things, most of the corrections I said would involve investing in a lot more legendaries. So because of that, it's budget value. We'll put it in B. Next, make a splash. Splash damage is great, but it's even better when delivered from behind a force field. Interesting. Protect your plants with powerful environments so you can keep dishing out the damage. So first problem is running 8 environments. All right, you got some early, but you only have like, you really only have 2 early game cards. I have no idea why Cosmic Bean is even in this deck. Why is Cosmic Bean? This is so dumb. It's not even like running like a card which is subpar. It says no place in this deck whatsoever. Are you gonna scoop it with your one? Okay, you're also running only 1 copy of Paracup, which is ridiculous with the Galacta and what you're trying to actually do in this deck. Okay, so you got 2, 3. 1 random Rescue Radish to scoop your brain. Like, what are you scooping? The bananas? The Snapdragons? Okay, removal. Got a little bit of decent late game. I'd run 4 dragons in this weird control deck. You just need more early game and more late game. I don't know this. I don't think the Shooting Starfruit's gonna be enough value. You'd have to get very lucky to pull this off. Like, it's a 5 cost 2 too. So you need more early game, you need more late game, and you need better mid game, and you need fewer environments. I'm sorry, PopCap, you done goofed on this one. I'm putting it in D. I think this deck could actually win some games, but there's so much dumb stuff here. Can't even. All right. The Great Wall. Combine Peel Shield and Root Wall. I think this deck was made before Trump was. No, it was actually after. Combine Peel Shield and Root Wall with powerful environments to build an invincible wall of plants. Plant a Gravitree behind a force field, in a force field, and they will have nowhere left to run. I never really tried a force field Gravitree. It's not a bad idea, actually. What about running way too many environments? Setting up your force field. So it's protected, like they're gonna run out of environments, then you play your force field, then you put Gravitree into it. Is that what that last deck was trying to do? And that's why you're running 8 environments to set up your Gravitree. It's not even running Soul Patch. I sort of like this idea. It seems like a really fun way to troll people. Like a really fun way. I think I'm actually gonna be writing this one down. It's gonna be troll 8 environment. Force field Gravitree Soul Patch. See, this one at least has the 4 soul patches in it, so at least it's built well. This also has a lot of late game. See, this has enough late game. It actually has more than enough cards to utilize this. Does it have enough early game? This is better than the other one, Stupid Cosmic P. So this is not quite enough early game, but I'll give them a half a pass on that. So you're running all these, just a lot of environments. I would run like probably 2 Spikeweed or something, and then 4 Force Fields, or 3 and 3, I don't know. Running just 1 random snake and some finishers. I don't think this deck is going to really be able to control opponents that well, even though it has some things. I like the concept. I'm going to give it points for the concept and actually put this in B, even though it's I don't think this deck is really going to be making it very often to turn 8 or 9, but points for creativity and nothing else. Next, A vast expanse of nothing. Whoa! Nuts finally fight back. In Russia, nuts fight you. Place a I could have said that way better, but yeah, family friendly. Place a Sporticus or Mirror Nut in a planet of the grapes and to draw a fistful of cards. Why? No, this is not okay. This is not okay. Then, when Picanolith finally lands, your docile defenders turn on the offensive. Okay, so we're going to build a wall. No, you don't have enough ones. Why is every Citron deck not have any early game? It's my question. Then there's the 3. The 3s are fine. The 4s are fine. The Doomshroom's okay. I love the Doomshroom in this deck. Then there's some dumb stuff like Smackademia. I don't know why this is here. I feel like just get rid of the Smackademia. Let's even say we'll keep the Loco Coco. Let's just say that's a good combo after the turn after Picanolith. And you get rid of this. And just run some more early game. Just put some hot dates. You know, Spikeweed Sector is better than Planet of the Grapes, but they're trying to do the combo. So fine, give you a pass. 2 Cosmic Nuts. It's a pretty good Cosmic card. Just put in a little, just put in even some Forget-Me-Nuts. Put in, I don't know. This turning into a Spikeweed Sector would also take care of some of the early game woes in this deck. This is not bad, though. Just what they're trying to do, I think it's doing well, and this deck could probably win some games. Again, Mirror Nut decks are not very good, but you're running Picanolith, so you get a pass. And you're running Doomshroom, so you get a pass. This is not horrible. I'll give this a B. I know you can Picanolith into Tricorn. Just try that sometime. Try that. Get it? I'll put in B. All right. Next. I think I'm going to put in F just for the name, though. Vast expanse of nothing. Tell me why. Rule of 3. Oh, no. Cosmic Bean and Primal Walnut may not seem like much of an offense, but 3 Nut starts all your plants with 3 strength. Then, Go Nuts gives all your team-up plants more strength. Walnut Bowling has never hit harder. Weemy has never hit harder. It's not... Anyway. Alright, what do we got? So it's a 3-Nut Go Nut deck. You're running 4 of each. Finally, a Citron deck with 2 copies of Triceratops. Finally. This is just Witch Hazel. Oh, look, it's team-up synergy. This is just... I mean, it's still a 3-3 with a 3-Nut. Maybe that makes it worth it. Then you're running a bunch of 3-Nut synergies, a bunch of Go Nut synergies. Running Cosmic Bean again. There's still almost no early game to be heard. It's better than the last deck, though. There's no environments in this deck. You're using Walnut Bowling as a finisher in like this mid-range deck. 2 copies. I guess it's okay as a last resort. I don't know why you're running Cosmic Bean instead of just garlic or more walnuts at least. But anyway. Why are I guess Cattail's a team-up? This deck is, I think, building for what it's trying to do, doing it pretty well, but what it's trying to do is not good, and there's just a lot of dumb stuff. Should I give this C just for a little bit of creative pleasure? I think I'm being very, like, giving the benefit of the doubt to some of these. I think this is probably better than the dumb stuff we saw in D, so we'll go with it. Alright, next, we're going to, Nightcap. I think there's actually like a Cycle Cap deck or something in here somewhere. We'll find out the hard way. The really hard way. This is called Mushroom Might. Rush the zombies with multiple mushrooms, then let Sporticus and Punishroom bring the hurt if the Brain Eaters try to stop you. Keep spreading the spores with Cosmic Mushrooms and Mushroom Grottos. Okay, so here's our ones. Running Poison Shroom, which is whatever. There's no Puff Shrooms in this deck, but this was probably made before Puff Shrooms existed. So we got Banana Bombs. I'd run more Berry Blast. Got Buff Shroom for a Mushroom deck, which is okay. You're running enough Mushrooms, really, like these even late game ones to justify Buff Shroom. So what are the problems? There's no big removal to even be seen. Your biggest removal is 3 damage from Gloom Shroom, which is really unreliable. No Puff Shrooms. Running this card. 2 Mushroom Grottos and 2 planets. I don't mind just 2 planets in this deck. The Astro Shrooms in it. You're running Pine Clone. Ooh, Pine Clone redeems this deck a lot. The 4 Pine Clones makes this deck win twice as many games, so this is definitely going up. There's just no removal in this deck. I mean, I guess you just play tempo. You play tempo. You hit him with the... I feel like there should be a few jumping beans or spring beans or something. Spring bean wouldn't be bad. All in all, this is not horrible. This is not horrible at all. I think this could win some... I think this could win some games even on a high level. It's a swarm deck. You swarm, use your superpowers are good. Then you hit him with like a, you hit him with a turn 4 Pine Clones. What you're doing, you're not really stalling to turn 5 and hitting them with a 5. But there's no Puff Shrooms. There's a few major problems. The main problem is actually no Puff Shrooms. Just get rid of the Shelf Shrooms and the Astro Shrooms. Put in 4 Puff Shrooms. The deck actually becomes way better when you do that. I'll put this in B. I'll put it in B. I'm still giving it the benefit of the doubt. You don't need that much late game removal because you're running Swarm. I hear you guys. It's still good though once you set your things up. Once you have that field established to be able to make the good like bounce tempo plays, in my opinion. But yeah, you don't have to. All right, here's Barry Dangerous. Oh no, it's Barry Nightcap. Barry's joined forces to dominate the zombies in the strategy deck. Sergeant Strawberry harnesses the power of friends such as Jolly Holly and Sour Grapes. It sounds horrible so far. To deliver extra damage. Grapes of Wrath removes it to finish the foe. Alright, not much early game. We got 2s, 3s. Not bad. I don't know why this is here. This Pair of Paradise is dumb. I should get rid of these and put in some Fireweights. There's just not enough late game cards to justify the Pair of Paradise. How you do it with Sergeant Strongberry? Maybe. It's running, it's fine, it's okay. I think the Jolly Holly with Sergeant Strongberry is a really bad idea. And again, it really just doesn't justify this horrific stats, especially in a tempo deck like Berries. Running some berries and some berries. I mean, it's not horrible. How do you win with this deck, though? It's almost nice that you have the Cherry Bombs just to clear your lanes out. And the Berry Blast just to clear lanes so you can hit face. Really hard deck to like do a ton of damage. I guess this deck's okay, though. So you have the Grapes of Wrath too. You have ways of going face with this deck, and again, maybe you're relying on Strawberry and Sergeant Strongberry to sort of clear the lanes out, do some damage. Berries are also not good. I'm gonna maybe have to factor that in a little bit, even though this was probably made again before the berry nerf. Where do we put this deck? It's like, if I gave this the real benefit of the doubt, I would say put it in C. I think just in B, I mean, but I feel like just because berries are not good, there's really not enough early game. It's not bad, actually. You have a lot of 2s. And there's a few dumb stuff like Jolly Holly, and then just not enough removal. I'll put this in C. It seems like a solid C, maybe even high C, low B. Next. Swarm and Transform. You never know what you're going to get in this powerfully unpredictable deck. It's an RNGesus deck. Rush out a plethora of plants with Shroom for 2 and Mushroom Grotto, then transform them all at once with Pine Clone and Molecule. Alright, so you got only 2 Pine Clones, so you got to run 4 in this deck list. Will be my main critique. I don't know, it's just a random Dandelion King just sitting here in the late game, so get rid of that. Otherwise, you got some early game, you got some powerful cards, you have some dumb stuff like Cosmic Beam, which you just shove into decks. You got Seedling. I'm gonna rate this like an RNGesus deck, so it's not gonna have to necessarily have the best cards, it's just gonna have to go for like a real fun strategy. This is really not bad. It needs to have 4 Molecules, so get rid of the dumb cards, get rid of these Cosmic Pieces. Definitely better stuff, like just Puff Shrooms would be way better. I don't mind the Mayflower in an RNGesus deck, even though it's not a great card. This is fine. And add some more berry, but just get rid of the dumb cards and add in some more copies of what you're already running, and some Puff Shrooms. This is not bad. For an RNGesus deck, this is very well made. Very well made. I'm going to give this an A, not because it's good, but just because you'll actually have fun playing a deck like this. Just need more Pine Clones. Pine Clones and Puff Shrooms is the main thing. Then this deck will be solid. Next, Face Blaster 9000. Do you need to blast faces? No, I mean, no. Then you'll love Face Blaster 9000. Admiral Navy. Is this what they're calling Cycle Cap? Admiral Navy being Astro Shroom, ping heroes when you play beans or plants. I'm never going to be able to look at Cycle Cap the same again after this. Alright, so this is their version of Cycle Cap. Let's see what they did here. So you got the 4 copies of the U. You finally have a good deck for Cosmic Beam. You need this for your Admirals. You have your line of Pleurodons. You finally are running Puff Shrooms. You need 4 of these, but fine, I'll give you a pass. You got your Shroom for 2s. I can't really argue with High Voltage Current. It's fine. I'd love to see Pine Clone in this deck instead of Mollical. And instead of, maybe I'd put Pine Clones instead of this. Otherwise, this is almost completely my version of Cycle Cap. I like 2 Sonic Blooms instead of 1 as well. What do I even do? I get rid of these and I put in Pine Clones and an extra Sonic Bloom. Otherwise, it's exactly the same deck list. I also don't run Banana Bombs. You can run something else instead of that. But don't, the Banana Bombs are fine because you really do need to control the first few turns. This is a fine deck. Can I really argue with the Mollical? Damn, the Mollical is the one really dumb thing. Why is Mollical in this deck at all? What is this doing here? Even if they just added 1 Pine Clone, I'd be like, okay, you run 1 Pine Clone. It makes the deck better. This makes it worse. This is not good with anything. This is not a combination of anything in this deck. But it is only 1 card. They really have 1 dumb card and everything else has a time and a place in this deck. And I'm going to be putting this in S tier. This is, again, this is definitely not the best version of Cycle Cap out there. You need 4 Pine Clones in case you don't get your Planet of the Grapes or get them and don't get enough value. But you know, that's some advanced level SH1T, advanced level doo-doo, we'll call it. Otherwise, yeah, this is a great deck. This could win a lot of games. You have to play this real smart, be really careful with your Planet of the Grapes so you don't just commit this on the field like everyone does and get it covered before you get at least 3 cards drawn out. But yeah, good deck. Good deck. I love how I love how the curve is always like it's on such a great curve every single time. Like a bell curve. Anyway, in terms of like which tier the decks are in. Next, all right, that was actually pretty impressive. Damn. Your Tricorn Evolutions do 12 damage per turn when you evolve them if they don't have a Rocket Science or a Fruitcake or anything to deal with it on turn 6. But anyway, evolved Cro-Magnolias make your team smash just as hard. Play Evolution Plants on Fusion Plants, get both bonuses. Okay, so here's the combo. You're running Fusion with Cro-Mag and 2 of these, 2 Tricorns, and then you're running really dumb cards like Lily Pad. Why is this? Shroom for 2 is fine. I don't think Shelf Shroom is such an overrated in these strategy decks. Hitting face, you got a little removal. I'd probably run a 3rd copy of Jumping Bean and then 3 Berry Blast instead of some of these dumb stuff. Running Fireweed. The concept of this deck isn't bad. Finally, we found Velociraptor Hunter in a deck. How are you playing this? You're controlling the first. You don't have aggro on the first 2 turns. So let's say you're controlling the first turns with. I don't know why they're putting 4 copies of Cosmic Beam in every deck. It doesn't make a bit of sense to me. Like the Cro-Mag isn't good here because there's not enough early game. Like you need 4 Shroom for 2s, none of these. Put in some Rotobagas. Maybe Rotobaga didn't exist. Even just put in some, I don't know. Would be a good 2 for this deck. Either way, the way they're making this, there's just not enough. I guess you can play Okay, so we're not playing Cro-Mag on 3. You're playing it on 4 with one of your 1-drops. Okay. So you're really starting off your tempo on turn 3. Then you hit him with Cro-Mag on 4, which sort of does set up this late game a little better. Then you just have multiple threats and you respond to what they do by playing the right plant. Okay, that works. There's a lot of... It's a little bit slow. I would probably rather play this much more aggressively. Put in that Blooming Heart. Even in the 1 slot. Put in a couple more Fireweeds. and then use these as the finisher instead of sort of starting on turn 3, because this deck doesn't get off the ground. You don't even start playing. You don't play anything on the field until turn 3, and the deck doesn't control the early games. It's a huge flaw. Huge flaw. Otherwise, again, his cards are justifiable under circumstances. But so it's not a good strategy to begin with. There's almost no synergy in this deck. There's not good early game. Even the strategy that they're doing, they're not executing it well. And then there's a bunch of dumb cards in this deck. I'm putting this in D. It's just too off. It's really, in terms of focusing and getting a win condition in, it kind of just missed the boat. Even though I think they're barking up. Get it? They're barking up a theoretically potentially correct tree, but they just kind of missed it completely. Oh, do we have a perfect bell curve now, guys? Look, it's a Face Blaster 9000. It's a, what was this one called? It's called it's a vast expanse of nothing. Guys, family friendly. Let's go, you good Christians. Here's the first Captain Combustible deck. Oh, it's a pyramid, of course. That's what I meant. Pair of pairs. Okay, it's called Pair Up. Oh no, it's a pair themed deck. It's a very bad idea. Pair of pairs, mentally impaired. Pair of pairs, Shroom for 2 and Mushroom Grotto all provide the extra oomph. I love that word. Okay, this is S tier just for that. Next deck. No. Extra oomph you need. I can't believe they did that. I'm so impressed. To really flex your muscle sprouts. Oh my gosh, I'm dying. Play the red planet in a lane with team up to get twice the boost. Okay. So you're running some no control in the early game. Really, no control. I feel like this would be a good Onion Rings deck, but you're only running 2 Onion Rings anyway. What is this deck doing? So you're playing Shroom for 2 and team ups into Mushroom Grotto, and then what? Then what do you do with that? Okay, so you played Muscle Spread on 3, it survived. Then you play Mushroom Grotto Shroom for 2 on 4. Okay. Is there a hero that can protect Muscle Sprout? And then no, it's Captain Combustible. Why is Cosmic P in this deck? Oh my gosh, this is so bad. Why is this? Guys, this deck is built around a concept that is just crap. This is just complete donut zero. Why does this deck exist? You have some potential here, but you just missed it. If you could control the early game, hit them with Onion Rings and Pod Fighter and buff the cards up and hit them with some bonus attacks. This is just a no. This is just the thing. This deck is, even though this is close to a completely different strategy that might work, it's not that strategy. It's not good enough at controlling, and it's not what this deck was intending to do in the first place. This is going in D. I think this actual deck list could win a few games. That's the reason why I'm not putting in F, but we'll give that one. We'll give it the D. If you know what I'm saying. Poison Powerhouse. Anti-hero plants give boost to Potted Powerhouse. It's a creative concept that doesn't work, but maybe I'll write it down so we can try it again. We'll do it Poison Powerhouse. All right. Use banana peels and sweet peas to keep those lanes clear. I kind of like it. So you can keep hitting the zombie hero. So how about Poison Shroom on 1 and Sweet Pea on 2? It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. I wish Poison Shroom had like 2 health. That would be good. Alright, so you got a Coffee Grounds. You have doubled mint in this deck for some reason. Banana Peel, they explain that. You're running Grow Shroom, which I guess is okay. A little bit of more. B-Rex. 4 of these. Running 1 Whipvine, which this is a pretty good deck for Whipvine if you're using it to activate. I never really thought. How about Poison Ivy Whipvine? Huh. Poison Ivy Whipvine. Like, I would probably, I don't even know if I would run Poison Shroom in this deck. And Sweet Pea. It's a nice idea. It's sort of creative. Are the decks a little out of order here? Oh. Did I mess up on the decks? Whoops. Mistakes were made. Okay, this one was here. Sorry, I put the wrong deck list up because I don't have these in the right order. This one went here. This one, thank you guys. Thanks for correcting me. Okay, we're up to Poison Power. Now we're good. We've made corrections. Everything else is fine. All right, we're giving it points for creative idea. I guess the double mint with this. I feel like this is a little bit too late too, the Poison Oaks. This is just going in C. I don't know where else to put this. I'll give it some points for creativity. Probably not so much for execution. Maybe this is good though. I don't know. I don't know. Repeat after me. Great power triggers your dino roars and makes your dinosaurs, repeat moss and double mint absolutely huge. Bonus attacks from these big bodies. Send opponents into Wi-Fi. Send opponents into repeated defeats. Okay, so you're running here's your early game. You got Berry Blast. You're running 2 Lilies, but that's what every deck does. Cucumber. Why is there this instead of Groshroom in this deck? Whatever. It's fine. So you're running Grape. It's Captain Combustible and has Repeat Moss in it. I can't argue with this Onion Rings either. It's random. Just throw 2 Onion Rings in every deck. You got 3 Plant Foods. This deck has a lot going for it. I definitely run Groshroom instead of Fertilizer. That's the first dumb thing. I don't know if these are really gonna... I'm not really a big fan of you. I'd run Clickpiece instead any day. It's okay. It could end up drawing you 1 card if you're lucky. It's not good. There's no environments in this deck, right? You gotta get some Fireweeds in just for that. So it's saying really this would just, it's like you're just gonna end up doing nothing and then hitting them with a Repeat Moss combo. So this deck can actually win games. I don't think what they're actually trying to do with the Great Power is a good idea. Like, it's just Captain Caball's superpowers. Run some Split Peas and get them. I don't really like the Great Power in this deck. I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's even close to good enough. What are you going to use this on? These 2 cards? Not worth it. I don't know. With Repeat Moss, Great Power does 8 damage. For 4. If you have a Repeat Moss on the field. I think that I don't this deck is only going to win games just because it has Repeat Moss in it, but it doesn't do a very good job of supporting it. I guess the Fertilize is good for the Repeat Moss, better than Groshroom. I don't think it's good enough, so I'm going to put it in C. This could have been the low B though. Next. Interplanetary exploration. Invasive species or species loves, depends if you're from England, loves to infiltrate environments like coffee grounds for 5 or 10 damage. I think I've tried coffee grounds invasive. The problem is you can't do Cosmos, coffee grounds, invasive. That would be nice, but that's 3 classes. That's the problem. While Lily of the Valley and Vegetation Mutation let you conquer the heights as well. So you're stalling turn 1. You're hitting with some kind of 2-3 combo. So it could be 2-3, 2-3, 2-3. It's not a bad play. So you're running this. You're running 2 Plant Foods. Let you get away with that. You're running 8 environments. It's too much. Like, put in some more late. There's just not enough late game in this deck. Like, get rid of the Mushroom Grotto and this on all. You're actually running 9 environments in this deck, and just put in some Bananasaurus Rexes and Repeat Moss, and this deck would have been fine. This deck would have been really good. Then get rid of the double mints and put in a couple more of these, and you're good. Like, at least it would be doing something. Again, this is not a very good strategy to begin with. So it's going for a strategy that isn't very good to begin with. It has a bunch of dumb cards in it. It has no late game to be seen. You have to get really, really lucky with your Captain Cucumber with something happening in the early game. They have to have no answers for this to even possibly work. And then there's, besides that, just a whole bunch more dumb stuff like 9 environments in this deck. So close yet so far. I think I'm putting this one in C as well. Is there room on the tier list now? Yeah, there is. Oh my gosh, look, it's giving the finger now. How's everything? Everything's fine. Yeah, we're good. Maybe I'll shrink this just a drop. Come on, tier list. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, a little powerhouse too. Okay, here we go. Next, we're going for the tier 5. Completely bananas. You always wonder why they said you've gone banana. No, not me. Whoever made these decks, though. Whoever made the tier 5 decks. Speak for yourself. Now you know, Sean. Protect your Protect your banana launcher, and it will fill your hand with banana bombs. Combine them and grape power to unload a devastating repeat moss combo. So it's bananas. You're running banana bomb just because it's banana deck. Then you got some protection. You got another banana. You're running 4 lilies in every deck as usual. You're running great power. And no plant foods. So first things first, get rid of the imitators or the lilies and put in some plant foods. Otherwise, is this deck half decent? Banana combustible, I've done it before. It's not great, but you really did make up for it by running repeat moss in this deck. There's just a couple of dumb things in here. I guess the imitator's okay. 3-4. You have a lot of 4s. It's not horrible. The lilies just don't fit in this deck at all. But maybe back when Lily was good, it was probably worth it. I don't really know why you're running Umbrella Leaf too. Where do we put this deck? I guess it's okay. I'll put it in B. What the heck? Next, okay, we're up to Beta Carotina. This is gonna go well. All right, it's Beta Carotina, and we're starting off with a Starch Lord deck. We're off to a great start, guys. A great start. Time to get back to your roots. Oh my god, someone kill me. Starch Lord buffs your tubular tubers. What? What does that even mean? While fetching a fistful of radical... Okay, who the heck? This is poetry. It's poetry in motion. Lock the game down by placing a soul patch in a force field. Okay, so you're doing this. You got some early game. You have... Oh, you have an acceptable amount of... No, you have an unacceptable amount of 2s, but okay, we'll give you a pass. What is this gonna scoop? This is just a root. This is not good. Rescue Radish is garbage. And Starch Lord, it's just going in F tier because of that. This is an okay stat card. The thing this deck is really missing, though, is removal. Like, if you're gonna try to even play anything with Citron, you gotta have... Beta Carotina, actually. You gotta have your Shamrockets or something to clear their field. Like, you could have this Soul Patch on the field for years, and it's not going to do anything because they're going to keep chump blocking it. The only removal in this deck is actually Gravebuster, so that's a huge flaw. Actually, a tremendous flaw. I know every once in a while, I don't mind the dragon in this deck. 2 dragons is probably the correct amount. Like, get rid of this and add some Shamrockets. Just add some Jumping Beans or something. Can this deck win games is the real quote. What it really comes down to has 7 environments. Can this deck win games? See, this deck can stall and kind of do like nothing very effectively, but it can't win. Ugh. So it's running a strategy. There's not enough early game. There's no finisher. I mean, there's 2 finishers. And the strategy it's going for is garbage. There's too many environments. I'm giving this one to D. Sorry, Starch Lord. It's not good. It's not good. Too much dumb stuff. And not a very good strategy to begin with. Amphibian Assaults. This is going to be Amphibious Bean deck. Take to the high seas. Da-da-dum-bum-ba-da-dum. With this naughty nautical deck. Naughty. Alright. Flood the lanes with ample amphibious cards, then buff them to high waters with navy beans. Alright, so it's an amphibious deck. You're actually running some decent amphibious, and you also have beans happening. There's just not enough beans in this deck. You have, besides for this, you have 3 types of beans. And if you're very lucky, you'll get a couple from Mayflower. You're running way too many environments. Not in this deck. I know Planet of the Grapes, but you don't have enough beans anyway, so run some Lima Pleurodons instead of some of the dumb stuff you have. There's just really no way to win with this deck either. Like, there's no removal. There's no Shamrocket. So you're running a bad strategy to begin with. You have dumb stuff. You don't even have enough beans. I guess this is your removal card? Okay, you have some removal. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. I feel like they're actually barking up something good. I don't know if this is real, because again, Leaf Blower is not even the greatest card. You really want these Bog and Grapes to be clogged with minions, so you're not necessarily going to even have the Leaf Blower. This is a huge, huge fallacy in this deck to use this as your removal. There's enough dumb stuff in this deck. I'm just putting this in F. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not a good deck. Not a good deck. Should I put it in D? No, I'll put it in D. I guess it's the beginning of something good, and that deck could probably win several games. Can this win any games? Can this deck win any games? Imagine I'm playing 10 games with this deck. How many am I gonna win? I should try this sometime. I think I'm gonna take some of the F tier decks, and I want just for that, just for the challenge, and because I want this to be part of the challenge, I think what I'm gonna do sometime is play the F tier strategy decks and actually see how many games I could possibly win with them, because you know, I actually do want to try this, see if it's even possible to win. So we're putting it in F just to be a beta tester. Got it? Good beta test. Anyway, next, Starch Wars. Why are there? This is another Starch Lord deck. Okay, Beta Karatina builds an unbeatable blockade in this Cosmic Control deck. Crush the enemy's resistance, then swoop in with a Dark Banner Dragon Fruit for decisive victory. Okay, so the first 2 turns actually plays decent mid-range. I don't know why they're running Cosmic Bean in every deck. This is not a good card. Especially the turn after such a liability, Galactic Cactus. This is also like, you gotta run Forget-Me-Nuts instead of Galactic Cactus, because it's just too much of a liability for these. I know it works well with the... I know this works well with the Paracub, but either run Galactic Paracub and no Rotobega, or run the Rotobega and turn this to Forget-Me-Nuts, and you can just get rid of the Paracub at that point. Okay, so you're starting off tempo either on 2 or 3, so unreliable. And you got Starch Lord for some reason, with like 2 roots in this deck. And you're running Bodyguard for control. You can at least have Shamrockets. Running Melon, and this is the finisher. So this is a control deck with Starch Lord. You're running this, which is completely outclassed by Snapdragon. Oh my gosh. And you have no environments. You're running a control deck with 0 environments. No wonder they think Red Planet is... I don't even know what on the other side. Red Planet's a plant environment. It's weird how they run 9 environments in some deck and then 0 in some. This is not a good deck, guys. This is not. Why is Starch Lord even in this deck? This does not make sense. There's a couple of good virtues in here, but there's anti-synergies, and then this is the biggest anti-synergy. This does nothing in this deck. Oh my gosh. This is not going to win games. This is going to win 0 games, guys. All right, we're putting this one in F2. Thank you, Beta Karatina. Plus, it's Beta Karatina. It's the worst powers in the game. Garbage. Wombo combos. Let's see. I'm losing faith. Playing evolutions like See, Dylan, I think all of the Beta Karatina decks were made by the same guy who made all of the last, like the tier 5 decks, the colossal ones, because like that's when Beta Karatina, she came out later. So this is probably why all these are trash. We do have 4 Triceratops in this deck, so I'm gonna stay optimistic. Playing evolutions like Tricorner, Blockbuster, and Fusion Plants, like Lily Pad and Pumpkin Shell, give both evolution ability and fusion ability. Okay, first of all, what the heck did you just say? So your idea is you want to play freaking Blockbuster on Lily Pad. Can you explain to me why that's even a combo? When would it even be remotely good? Because you conjure a card. No, that's not a good combo. You never want to be playing Blockbuster in the water. It can at most hit one gravestone if you play in the water, and the whole point of running this over Gravebuster is the fact it hits multiple things. This is such a... This just... Oh my gosh, cremation station instantly. Okay, so you're also trying to do Tricorn on Pumpkin Shell, which is not a good idea. Tricorn is powerful enough. It has 4 attack. If this, the weakness of this is that it gets removed by a 3 or 2 cost zombie card. That's the problem. My Fruitcake or Rocket or just anything just destroys it. Even a 5, even Locust Storm destroys a 2 for 1. Investing a 3-drop into this to give this an extra 2 attack is not a good idea. I know then it doesn't die to Fruitcake, but still not a good idea. So what else do you have in this deck? You have no early game. Okay, you have this. This is fine. You have environments that are fine. Does this combo work? Pumpkin Shell. You also don't want this in the water. Lily pad into... Anyway. It conjures you an extra leafy card. Shut up. Okay, so this is going to end up being a 5/7. So it still dies to Fruitcake and everything. This doesn't even get you around Fruitcake. This combo. Oh, this is so bad. Oh, this is so bad. I like this one, but you're only running 2 Rotovegas, and then it's just 2 Cosmic Beam. This deck is so bad. You're running Shamrockets. You know what? Because this deck, the entire premise of this deck is just complete and utter numbskullness. Like, do this with Elderberry. Do it with something that would actually benefit from it. The entire premise of this deck is garbage. Complete I'm putting this in Cremation Station. Sorry, Beta Caratina. Another one bites the dust. So far, Beta Caratina strategy decks have been ass. Let's go. Here's the last one for today. We'll do the zombies a different time. Jelly Bean. Ooh. Is this going to be a Bean Bounce deck? This might end up being good. Might end up being good. Jelly Bean gets bigger whenever you bounce something. Push that to the max by bouncing everything in sight. Plants, zombies, and even gravestones. Running Rescue Radish in this deck. Why? Meanwhile, your dinosaur plants were larger and larger. Now, Rescue Radish is not bad with Primal Pea Shooter, because if this doesn't work, you can scoop this up and remove something easy. So you got your Admirals, you got your Ligmas. I would run 2 more Triceratops, but that's just me. You have your Primal Pea Shooter. I'm really happy to see that. This is fine when you have Admiral Navy Bean. So at least the Cosmic Bean is fine. And you know what? Cosmic Bean into Rescue Radish is not bad, since you really do have other things that you can Rescue Radish, like your cheap beans and like this. So then you're running... This is fine. Got a little Grave Bounce. Okay, you're doing this just to combine with the bounce energy, which is okay. I'm okay with that. Running Plant of the Grapes as your environment. I would run Spikeweed Sector, but this can give you some card draw. Then you got some bounce. You got some bounce. This deck looks really, really good, actually. I wouldn't run the Rescue Radish, but I don't mind, because you really do have some pretty good targets for it. And you have plenty of removal. You have plenty of early game beans. It's really nice having the Cosmic Beans as an upgrade for your Jelly Beans too. That's probably your prime target. This deck is really not bad. This deck is really, really good. Really, really good. You have the 4 light. I mean, they really packed this deck with 4 of everything that you really need, which is really... Man, would I run another finisher? I'd run a Brainana or a Dragon in this deck, or maybe 2 of each instead of, like, let's say these. But I'd also switch the environment, but you don't need those finishers necessarily. Brainana would help this deck a lot. Brainana would help this deck a lot. I don't know if there's going to be enough lake. Sometimes you'll be able to do this. It's not going to work against control deck. Brainana would make this deck perfect. Absolutely perfect. That would almost maybe even justify the Rescue Radish. Man, can I give this S? Can I give that? I don't think this can go to S. This will get a solid A, though. This is actually a really... I didn't expect the Beta Curatina Colossal deck to be the one that's going to go into A tier, and I'm almost considering putting this in S. I think, you know what? When I'm thinking in terms of decks in general, this would actually an A tier deck, but because it's a strategy deck and I'm really kind of basing it on, you know, comparing it to other strategy decks, as far as strategy decks goes, this is actually an S tier deck. I think this deck could actually win a lot of games, a lot of games. So again, it's A, but because it's a strategy deck, we'll give this S, especially compared to everything else we've seen in Beta Giratina. This deck looks like this is actually very, very well made and executed very well. Has like missing a little bit of things later in the game, but this is fine. All right, guys, that was the remaining plant decks. I think what I'm gonna do for the zombies is actually do them all in one video, because I thought that maybe rating 50, how many decks is it? It's 55, right? We did 25 and then 30, so 55 decks. Thought it would go super slow. It seems like it's actually going faster than I thought. This video actually took almost an hour. We'll see about next time for the zombies, if I'll do in 2 videos or 1. But anyway, guys, that was really, really nice. If you have any creative ideas for tier lists, let me know in the comment section below. And again, I would eventually like to, just as a meme, maybe try to win some games with some of these F-tier strategy decks. That would be fun. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace. This is Try.